Cosmic Proverbs, one for a tale told on the rim worlds. The year is 329 after contact. Out on the dry frontier world of Caldera Reach, a wide baked plain under a single bloated red sun, cattle aren't made of meat and hide. They're solar grazers, great plated beasts the size of freight haulers, drifting across the dust seas on magnetic hooves, harvesting sunlight with sail-like veins, and converting it to stored power cells worth more than gold ever was on old Earth. Here a man's word is still his bond, a handshake still seals a drive, and the only law between the scattered ranches is the one carried in saddlebags since Terah, the 14th chapter of Proverbs. This is the season the scroll rode the range on Caldera Reach. Ranch boss Alara Kane ran the biggest spread on the reach. 10,000 grazers branded with the Circle K. She rode tall in the saddle of her dust runner, hat low, voice steady, quoting the scroll like it was written for the range itself. The wise woman builds her house, but folly with her own hands tears it down. She built slow and sure, fair water shares. Honest tallies at roundup, wages paid on time. Folks said the Circle K was the only outfit where a hand could grow old without growing bitter. Down the trail at the Broken Spur Saloon, a cattle baron named Harlan Gage ran the flashier play. Gage had struck a rich vein of grazers early, bought half the water rights on the plain, and drove his herds hard for quick profit. He branded anything that wandered, shorted his hands on shares, and laughed at anyone who talked about just weights. The scroll had a line for him: whoever oppresses a poor man insults his maker, but he who is generous to the needy honors him. One season the sun flared hotter than any record. The dust seas rose in walls of static that fried veins and scattered herds for 100 kilometers. Gage's overworked grazers stampeded straight into the storm and burned out half their cells. When the dust settled, his tally was down by thousands. His hands walked off with their final pay, and the bank riders came calling. Meanwhile, in a little line shack on the far ridge, an old trail cook named Silas Reed kept a single pot simmering day and night. He fed every drifter, down pilot, and broke cowhand who knocked on his door. Never asked for credit, never turned a soul away. Folks asked why he didn't charge or move to town where the credits flowed. Silas just ladled another bowl and said, whoever despises his neighbour is a sinner, but blessed is he who is generous to the poor. His shack became the heartbeat of the reach. Word spread that if you were lost, ride for the smell of coffee on the wind. Then came the young gun named Jace Calder, fast with a lasso, faster with pride. Jace figured the big outfits owed him a start, so he cut 50 prime grazers from the Circle K herd one moonless night and rebranded them with his own mark. Planned to sell them at the farm market and by his own spread. Alara Kane tracked him across 3 days of dust. Found him camped with the stolen herd, rope coiled and ready. Jace waited for the stun bolt. Instead, Alara handed him a branding iron, still warm, and said, help me put the Circle K back on every one of these, and we'll call the debt square. After that, there's a place on my payroll if you want it honest. Jace worked beside her crew for a week straight. When the last brand was set right, Alara paid him full hand-ass wages for the labor and told him to buy his little sister the medicine she needed back in Dry Gulch years later. Jace, now foreman of the Circle K, still told the green hands around the fire, the poor is disliked even by his neighbor, but the rich has many friends. Whoever mocks the poor insults his maker. The big dust storm of the season came the week Gage's bank note came due. His remaining herd was too thin to drive to market, and the buyers rode away laughing. Gage sat alone in the Broken Spur, bottle in hand, watching his empire turn to dust. Alara Kane rode in at sundown, bought a round for the house, and sat across from him quiet-like. She didn't preach. She just opened the scroll and read. Whoever is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who has a hasty temper exalts folly. Then she offered him a job running one of her outer camps, fair pay, honest tally, chance to earn back what pride hadn't already cost him. Gage looked at the bottle, looked at her, and took the job. By the end of that year, Silas Reed's pot never went empty. Jace's little sister lived to ride her own dust runner. Alara's herd grew fat and strong on the widest range, and Harlan Gage, quiet now, hat in hand, Road foremans watch on the night shift, counting stars instead of credits. On the evening the red sun set in perfect line with the distant nebula, a sight. The old hands called the Makeress brand. Every outfit on Caldera Reach gathered at Silas S. shack. Coffee flowed. Stories rose with the smoke. Old feuds cooled under the same sky. Above them the stars wheeled slow and ancient. But down on the wide, whispering plains of Caldera Reach, the frontier learned what the scroll already knew: righteousness exalts a nation. But sin is a reproach to any people. And out here, where the dust never settles and the trail never ends, that was still enough. The wise woman builds her house. The rest is just wind across the range. End of transmission.